Today I'm joined by the remarkable Laura Bratton, whose journey through profound transformation has shaped a powerful understanding of resilience, clarity, and human courage. As we step into a conversation about navigating change, let's explore how challenges can become catalysts, how uncertainty can refine purpose, and how an unexpected path can sometimes become the most meaningful one. Welcome to the show, Laura. It's such an honor to have you.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here.
Mhm. So, Laura, when you think about navigating life's most disorienting changes, what core mindset helped you to stay grounded rather than overwhelmed?
Staying present in the focus. I'm saying that backwards. Let me start over. Staying focused in the present moment. And the reason I say that is from my own lived experience. When I was experiencing major vision loss and adjusting to life without sight, I was so incredibly overwhelmed by the fear of the future. How would I finish school? How would I do profession? How would I do anything and everything? I was deeply overwhelmed with those fears. And at the same time, I was experiencing deep, deep depression as I was grieving my past, grieving how easy life was with sight. I was constantly in that balance of grieving the vision loss, but also being overwhelmed by the fear of the future. So I share all that to say, when I was able to just focus on the present moment and literally, I mean, I'm very literal, the moment in front of me, that's what allowed me to create the mindset of resiliency, the mindset of courage. And it's very, very hard to do, but it was a survival technique. When I focus on the present moment, that's what allowed me to move forward.
Yeah, that's amazing. And how did that mindset shift evolve as your circumstances continue to shift?
Great question there, and I'm laughing because they evolve still now every single day. And what that looks like is practicing mindfulness. So, and I want to share a little bit about my experience with mindfulness to share how it's evolved. So, for me, when I first started to learn about mindfulness, it was all about focusing on my thoughts. So, learning how to observe my thoughts rather than instantly jumping in to my thoughts and judging my thoughts and assuming every single thought was absolute fact for now and forever. That was deeply helpful to learn how to control my thoughts, how to process my thoughts, how to observe my thoughts rather than judge. And what the mindfulness evolved to was not just focusing on my thoughts, but also including that to focus on my breath. So typically for me, when I'm anxious, my breath gets shallow and quick. It's short, shallow breaths. So mindfulness taught me taking those slow, deep breaths from my diaphragm, doing the box breathing of breathing in for 4 seconds, holding for 4 seconds, breathing out for 4 seconds, and then holding for 4 seconds. That gave me the gift of calming down my anxiety with both my thoughts and my breath. So it is certainly a work in process that I focus on every single day, but 100% my mindset evolved as I just focus on mindfulness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and many listeners might feel their mindset collapses under pressure. So, evolution could illuminate what growth in motion truly looks like.
So growth in motion, and again, I speak from my own lived experience. I thought, oh, I'm sorting mindfulness. I'm on this healing journey. I'm doing energy work. I'm doing all these holistic practices. This is great. I'm going to go, forward from here. It's going to be quick and easy. What I learned is healing is not linear. So I had the perception that I move forward. I'm doing all this energy work. And so it's always going to be a moving forward linear process. What I experienced as you perfectly mentioned, the lapse in mindset and just evolution, it's a constant forward and back. It's not linear. And that's not wrong or bad or negative or means we're doing something wrong in our mindset. It just means we're human and that's part of our healing journey that we move forward and then we go back into that depression. And then we move forward and then we go back into that anxiety. So I want to make it very, very clear from my own experience and the experience of working with so many other people, the fact that it's not linear is perfectly okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. And what do you believe people misunderstand most about resilience when they're going through a drastic change?
That resilience is being strong, not feeling our emotions, pushing forward. What I've learned that resilience is just the opposite. Resilience, and again, this comes through my lived experience. Resilience is taking the time to stop, feel the difficult emotions, and then still choosing to move forward, even when it's hard. So, a very, very, very practical example of what I mean by this, of what resilience looks like in my daily life, when a situation is making me feel very anxious, I'm extremely anxious. I stop, I acknowledge the anxiety, I turn towards the anxiety in my body, and I choose and make that conscious choice. Yes, I acknowledge I'm feeling anxious. I'm acknowledging I don't want to send that email or make that phone call or whatever the task might be. And yet I choose to move forward.
Yeah, definitely. And do you think resilience is cultivated through choice, circumstance, or a balance of both?
A balance of both. And again, I say that speaking from my own experience. I had to choose to be resilient, to develop resiliency. Yes, I had to choose that. At the same time, life circumstances forced me to have to make that choice. So, because of my life circumstances, because I had to adjust to life without sight, I had to make the choice. If I want to keep going, if I want to survive in this world, I have to choose resiliency. So that's why I say the answer is both of yes, it's my choice every single day. And that choice was forced upon me by life circumstances. And I also want to make it very, very clear it's not a one time choice. It's literally a daily choice we make to be resilient. So, just like that, the healing journey is not linear. Choosing resiliency is not a one time choice and then move on. It's a daily choice, a daily practice.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. And also, your distinction could challenge the way many define strength, opening room for a more compassionate perspective.
Right. And compassion is the key. Compassion, compassion, compassion.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And in moments where fear feels louder than hope, how do you reconnect with your inner steadiness?
So for me, when the fear was so much louder than the hope, that's when I depended on the support around me. So for me in my mindset, that fear was absolutely louder than the hope. I didn't have the strength to get myself back grounded in that balanced perspective. So I needed the support of others. So it looked like depending on others as they held that hope for me. And again, I want to make it clear that is not weakness. Depending on our support, relying on our support, that interdependence is not weakness. It's not we're less than, other people are better than us. It's simply a human experience. And the way that helped me think about that, because I did view that as a weakness, what changed my perspective is when I switched the table. If one of my good friends or a family member was so overwhelmed with fear that they didn't have that hope and they came to me for support, I would never think about saying, "What's wrong with you? Get it together. Snap out. Like, do this on your own. Get the hope back." I would support them how I could in being their hope, holding that hope for them. So just as I would never say to a family or a friend, "You're weak because you're having to lean on me for support," that mindset helps me to also have that same perspective when I'm so deep in the fear.
Mm-hmm. Yes, totally. And also, has there been a moment when fear taught you something essential rather than just blocking your path?
Yes, fear taught me the depths of my strength. And the reason I say that is because when I was so overwhelmed with fear and fear was more prominent in my mindset than hope, I didn't think there was a way forward. I didn't think there would be any other life except for this overwhelming, fearful life. And yet, moment by moment, as I moved through that fear back to that place of hope, I realized my strength. So I would absolutely say the depths of fear taught me the depths of my strength.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. And this duality between fear and insight might resonate with those who see fear only as an enemy.
Yes. Yes. It's incredibly helpful because that was you're saying everything that was my experience. That was my experience. I thought fear was my enemy. I thought me feeling fear was bad and something was wrong with me. When I could get to the mindset of acknowledging fear, it is what it is, that was an absolute mind shift, healing journey for me because I realized fear taught me, again, it taught me my strength, that my fear is not my greatest enemy.
Mm-hmm. Yes, 100%. And change often disrupts identity as much as routine. How did you reconstruct a sense of self while adapting to the new reality?
Self compassion, self compassion, self compassion. I cannot say that enough because as my identity was changing so quickly and I was having to accept myself as a person who was now blind, it wasn't until I started to offer that self compassion to myself that then I was able to slowly rebuild my identity. And the word compassion means suffering with. So once I was able to suffer with myself and acknowledge, yes, this change is intense pain. The change that we experience as humans is really intense and really hard. Once I could experience that, then I could slowly rebuild my identity. So I cannot say enough the gift of self-compassion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And also, do you think identity should be something we protect or something we continuously reimagine?
Honestly, both. And and I again, I say that from my lived experience because the identity I want to protect is the identity of that self-compassion, the self-confidence. Yet the identity I want to currently and always evolve and grow in and be willing to adapt and adjust is that sense of self professionally, personally, just as I grow in my friendships and relationships with family members and coworkers. So that's why I say both to deeply protect that self compassion, that self confidence, while at the same time being open to grow in our identity personally and professionally.
Mm-hmm. And that framing may help listeners rethink identity not as something lost during change, but reshaped by it.
100%. Because our identity is always shaped by change, regardless of how small or huge we think the change is, our identity always changes. And again, that's I want to make that clear. That's not a bad thing. Our identity evolving is not a bad thing.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I totally agree. And many people view change as something to endure rather than something to collaborate with. So, how do you personally work with change instead of resisting it?
That is exactly where I was for so long, resisting the change. That's exactly where I was. And that only led to more anxiety, more depression, just that feeling of I'm less than, I'm not worthy. Once I collaborated with the change, it was an absolute huge catalyst to my healing experience, to my healing journey. Because I again realized when I collaborate with change, I heal. Right? Like just that simple acknowledgement, collaborating with instead of resisting against, just that small shift in my mindset made all the difference in the world. So I cannot say enough about we let go of that resistance and just say the change is what it is and collaborate with it, we're able to heal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's incredible. And is there a moment when surrendering to change led to an unexpected breakthrough?
So, definitely for me, when I was deeply resisting the change, the breakthrough came. I'm thinking of a situation one day I was in an internship in graduate school and I was in my mentor's office and she just named what it was. She was like, Laura, if you will just stop resisting, life won't be so hard. And of course, my Imi initial reaction was, "Oh, you don't know. Yes, I will." You know, right? You don't know what I'm going through. But as I went through the rest of that day and just said, "Okay, so for the rest of the day, I will not resist. I'll just try to go with this change." I had such a sense of grounding, such a sense of inner peace. And it was not a grounding inner peace like life is easy, life is smooth, everything goes my way. It wasn't that type of grounding a peace. It was a grounding and a peace of safety. It was a grounding and peace of security. So for me, that was absolutely a major turning point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this could also offer a refreshing counter perspective, showing listeners that surrender is not defeat, but redirection instead.
100%. It's a redirection to safety and security and just grounding. And in that safety and security, we get our power back. We get power to decide how are we going to control and react to life circumstances.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. So, thank you so much, Laura, for offering such profound clarity on what it means to navigate change with courage and grace. And for everyone listening, let this conversation be your reminder that change isn't merely a disruption, it's an invitation to evolve, to question, to realign, and to rise. Take one step today towards embracing the change you have been resisting. Your future self will thank you.